officially potty break, drink break, smoke break.
Okay, you are rolling.
Are you going to be standing right about there?
Yeah, because I'm probably going to be here because I'm going to have to, like...
You want a microphone? It's easy.
Yeah, I might. I guess so, because like everybody's kind of spread out. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. My multitasking is good, but when I get nervous, it goes away. Because I don't normally have, like, this is very exciting. Also, I don't normally do, like, as formal as this, so that makes me nervous.
I imagine that we're not wearing any clothing.
So I'm like, I mean, thankfully, you know, for all I know, you guys aren't going to understand anything I'm saying, and that, you know, then that'll go over well. So there's that.
Can we ask really complex questions? Is that
You
okay?
can! You can ask enormously complex questions, but
Because
be
Corey asked
prepared.
me not to do it for his presentation.
No, you can ask me enormously complex questions. All right, let's see. Should I, like...
Hello. Yes, the microphones also freak me out like that. Normally just loud.
Sentiment analysis?
Hmm?
Doing just sentiment analysis, or is there something?
No. So this is very exciting. All right.
What, to be on the stage?
No, because I need to be able to hit my computer. And
I can do that for you.
so, no, it's easier if I do it because then I'll forget where I am in the slides. And, yep. All right, so I'll do a quick introduction. I'm Lauren McEwen from Seven Bells Social Media. We're a social media marketing and strategy company. For most of my clients, we do full management of all Twitter, but we also do a lot of other things. A while back, I had this kind of realization that, one, I decided that I was going to be able to predictively determine when a tweet could get into top tweets on Twitter. And I also realized that doing that has a significant increase in click-through rates. So at that point, I headed down this very strange, impossible task and developed an algorithm, which is my first algorithm. So I would officially like to introduce the FAD algorithm. It is a Twitter search algorithm that is showing results of an increase of an average of 500% increase in click-through rates. I've had a higher range of that, but that seems to be the consistent. So I'm first going to show you the algorithm. This is my very pretty algorithm. This is going to mean nothing to you. But I wanted to break... It's nice, isn't it?
You have the summation.
I know, see? I think it's very pretty, and it spells FAD, which is why I'm calling it the FAD algorithm. And that was actually not intentional, but I was very excited about the fact that it spelled FAD because of top tweets.
Looks like a sorority house doorway.
It does. I kind of want a shirt that says this. What? I know, it's like, we're in the Twitter sorority. So I wanted to just kind of explain briefly what this is, and then we'll talk a little bit about the bigger picture and then kind of go back into some details. So this stands for frequency, affinity, decay over density. I said all very technical. Frequency is the rate of occurrence of your tweets using specific hashtags within your timeline. This is affected by affinity. Affinity is the rate of influence your tweets have within a specific community, that community being your search term, your topic, as well as the community's influence back upon you. Decay is the time since tweeting. For instance, the half-life of a tweet is 18 to 24 minutes. That means from 18 to 24 minutes, half the people who will ever have seen a tweet will have seen it at that point. When you implement the FAD algorithm, you are able to significantly decrease the rate of decay from anywhere from 18 to 24 minutes up to a few hours, even up to days. It makes sense that if you decrease the rate of decay and increase the rate of impressions and people being able to see it, then you potentially increase your click-through rate. The more people see it, the more people are going to be able to potentially engage with you. And then the density is the overall saturation of a hashtag within Twitter. This means how often are tweets coming through using your specific keyword. You can see ones like a low saturation would be it comes out every day or so. High saturation is you have multiple tweets coming out per second, and that happens a lot. All of these work together to determine how you get into top tweets. And they all affect each other. All right. So first, we're going to pull out a little bit. Let's talk about hashtags. I'm sure most people here already know what hashtags are. Twitter did not actually invent hashtags. IRC, Internet Relay Chat, was the one who originally first used hashtags. And it was in a social network type of setting. And Chris Messina, when Twitter first came out, said, hey, let's start using these. We use them on IRC. Let's use these to group our chats on Twitter. And everybody said, that's a great idea. And that was pretty much where it started. So Twitter didn't invent hashtags, but they did popularize them. And because of Twitter, pretty much every social network now uses them, as well as being integrated into our culture. Hashtags have become what are known as a paralanguage. A paralanguage is a gesture, like that's considered paralanguage. Hashtags are also considered a paralanguage at this point. People are using them in writing and in speaking to indicate either what they're talking about, subtext, the importance of what they're talking about, like, you know, I like tree, or, you know, this is a beautiful tree, hashtag I love my life. It's adding relevance. But people are not only saying it, they're using it in text. They use it in situations where hashtags don't even work within a search function. What's interesting about that, though, is, and how this comes back on Twitter, is the more people use it in their regular everyday life, the more they also use it for search. And so we are seeing an increased relevance in hashtags for search term on Twitter. Let's see. So that brings us to Twitter SEO, which I'm just calling TSEO. There's the biggest difference between Twitter SEO and regular SEO is longevity. You know, if you're targeting Google or Bing or Yahoo and you've done your keyword optimization, once you start ranking, you can usually hold that for a period of time, or at least you hope you can. And a period of time is often like, you know, months or even longer. Twitter updates every second. So you can gain ranking and have it gone like that. So the Twitter is constantly, continuously updating because it is a living, breathing network. Top tweets are the location for Twitter's search. That is, getting into that is basically the equivalent of getting like first page ranking. And honestly, what they have found is that getting into top tweets is quite literally the equivalent of getting first page on Google. There's evidence that says, I think, what is it, 85% of the people only go to the first page of Google. The same with Twitter. You have two different types of searches. You have your top tweets and then your live. Your live stream is literally everything coming through. The majority of people never go to the live stream. They only go to top tweets. Half the people don't even know that there is such thing as a live stream. They think the top tweets is the live stream, which shows that there's even more importance in getting into that. What makes the Twitter TSEO more complicated is that there's two levels to this. There's internal and external. So I'm going to explain these. Internal is your community of interest. So, you know, say Colin really likes talking about fish and tweeting about fish because maybe he's really into fishing. So most of what he does is about fish, and he, you know, is really active in the fishing community.
Fish with butt plugs.
Fish with butt plugs. It's a little bit more obscure.
Do you have a site for that, or?
Yeah. He's registering it right now.
Yeah, as we speak.
Steve's here, so you can get the .XXX for that. So if he does a tweet and uses hashtag fish, and because of his influence, his affinity, right, he has a much higher chance of getting a top tweets for his community. So the people who interact with him, the other people who regularly interact with hashtag fish, will see this. Great. This is called internal ranking. However, if he signs out, or if he says all of a sudden does hashtag chair, but he never has ever, you know, done anything with hashtag chair, one, he won't show up in top tweets, but if he does a search for that, he won't see this internal. He'll see what's called the external or global. The external or global means that this has nothing to do with the people that you talk about. This is where Twitter has decided these are the most relevant tweets and accounts for this particular conversation. To rank in Twitter searches, you first rank for internal. And then as your affinity grows, you can then rank for external. When you rank for external, that's where usually you'll have tweets that start staying around for sometimes even months. So it can be a really, really long time. Once you get external ranking, your internal ranking is like crazy high. It's it's at that point often even difficult for somebody to knock you out of that position. So now we've kind of talked about some of those basics. I'm going to show you some of the analytics. These are just some of the graphs. This was done with Bitly, by the way. This is some tracking during my experiments with implementing. This represents an adult account externally ranking for a mainstream hashtag. This is the biggest outlier of all the results. This was an 8,000% increase in click-through rate. That was pretty exciting when that happened. So we ranked for 3 days, and then I turned it off because I wanted to see what happened. And you can see, actually I turned it off basically towards the end of the second day, and you can see day 3 and day 4, it starts going down, and then it's just gone. And that's because we held on to our ranking, and it kept going farther down within the list, but we held on to it for a couple of days, and then it was gone, and then the clicks went down to, very, very low. This is clicks for not ranking, but implementing the FAD algorithm. So this is before ranking. You can see where it's lower down. That was just the standard, that's what we call the baseline CTR. Then we implemented FAD. The reason that FAD starts working is because it's automatically working with what Twitter wants you to do. But Twitter hasn't said that they want you to do it, as opposed to Facebook, which has been very clear on theirs. Twitter hasn't talked about any of this. But if you implement FAD because you're working on your frequency, on your working with the densities, working with the affinity, your CTR goes up. I'm seeing an average of 200 to 250% consistently with just implementation of the algorithm. Once you start popping, this is an internal pop. So the lower side was the implementation of FAD. The higher point was when we started popping for internal top tweets. And that represented a 500% increase from base. And so far across the board, I am seeing consistently these types of results. Ranking for the mainstream like that one is a lot harder to do. And as I get into testing, we're going to be testing that more and more. But also, not everybody can do that. Not everybody has, in adult has tags that are going to work. That one particular account did, and so we were able to kind of test that out. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. It's a way that's taking your tweets and integrating searches to work with the Twitter algorithm. So my algorithm is working in conjunction with that, and I've even gotten it so at this point it's predictive. So I can say, based off of X information, if we do the following things, you'll be able to attain this within a period of time. And you even have a midpoint, an early gestational pop, where which is like the halfway point, which confirms if you're on track or not. So if we say okay, within 30 days you're going to pop, at about 15 days, you'll start seeing where you start ranking internally for like a minute or two. And it's just this quick, but what happens is you see roughly an 85% increase in your clicks when you have that. So all of a sudden, you see this bump in your CTR, and that shows your halfway gestational period. And then from that, you can say, okay, this is our halfway point. We are on track or not on track for hitting it. And so far, that has been consistently true. So if you are interested in learning more about this, talking to me about how to implement it, then please approach. I welcome any questions. So thank you for listening.